Good afternoon, everybody. Today we are going to be talking about the underground fiber placement equipment maintenance plan. This is a final presentation towards the project, and we will give in more information along forward. So this is a brief uh, of our agenda. We're going to be giving you a quick introduction. What's the main problem, the objectives, how we approach the problem, all the data collected, the results, and the conclusion on our findings. So what is the main purpose of this project? Well, the main purpose from day one was to find a certain project in the company, a certain job, a certain something that we, the company, they could have turned those losses into a revenue. And by this being said, this revenue was going to go towards the employees and new equipment and benefits. So who will actually be targeted? So the target of the project will be, for this certain project, will be the equipment, the heavy duty equipment such as the boring machines and the trench machines. This target will also include increase of longevity, increase of production, and increase of lifespan. So how actually does the boring machine works? So up here on the first figure, we have the boring machine. This is nothing more than a horizontal directional drilling machine. What this does, it performs a pilot drill towards a maximum depth of, it could go all the way down to 150 feet, 200 feet, depending on the range of the machine. So in this case, this is our boring machine, and this is the pilot bore. So it could go all the way down to 100 feet in order to deviate from certain infrastructure, such as communications infrastructure, telephone infrastructure, water pipes, you name it. So it does, basically what it does is go all the way down, and a operator that you can see right here, he will be tracking the pilot board, tracking it to see how many depth he's on, where he's going to come out, and whatnot. This information would be then directed to the operator in the machine. So in this case, he found that he has for example, at 80 feet, he has a sewage pipeline, main pipeline. So then again, the operator from the boring machine deviates from that pipeline, all in order to come all the way up, just as seen in the picture. So the main purpose here was to not obstruct the traffic, and let everything just pass through and have no damage towards the environment itself, like cutting the road, cutting down trees just to pass the trencher through here. So everything was done on the ground. So by this being said, you can now install PVC pipes and route your fiber optic cables, coaxial cable, telephone cables, power electric cables, anything. So by doing this, you will have a much crispier, cleaner job and a more efficient job, and it will not have an impact towards the public transportation. So in our next picture we have over here, this fellow right here, as you can see, this one right here is a pipeline trencher. Basically what this pipeline trencher does, it opens up a trench, let's say 12, it can open up to 4 inches wide, and to a depth up to 3 feet. So in this case, this job is much more dirtier because the trencher can go through plant green, and we call it the slang for trenches, that you could go to the green planting. You could also cross the asphalt, but in this case it's dirtier because when you cross asphalt, you got to re-asphalt, you got to resurface, you got to repave. So in this case, we are going to use it only for non-asphalt areas. So what this does is it opens, like I said, a trench of up to 3 or 4 feet into depth, 4 inches wide, and all in order to bury PVC pipe in 4-inch, 2-inch. So that's the main purpose of these horizontal directional machine and the bore machine. So let's see what we have in the next slide. So the main problem here that the company is battling is the constant equipment breakdowns, meaning the company Genesis Communications is incurring in a very much of revenue loss, because every time the machine breaks down, the project is being stopped. Employees are not being so productive, because the main purpose here is the machines need to work, because if the machine does not work, the employees cannot work, because the employees are just cleaning after the machine. So we will have the main problems. Employees will have no productivity. The employees will have a lot of overtimes, and the machine will not be properly equipped in order to work, and the company will not reach their project deadlines. So the objective of the maintenance plan, like I said in before, is to target the longevity of the machines. Let's say if we give the machine the necessary maintenance procedures, this machine could last the company up to 10 to 15 years. Right now, this one machine is just lasting the company 3 to 4 years. And one of these machines costs around $150,000. So in other words, we have to increase the longevity of the machine. Second, we have to increase the employees' productivity, also the equipment productivity. Why the employees' productivity? Because if the machine is down, the employees are not going to be working. So we need the machines to be 100% productive. In order for the employees to be 100% productive and only work the 8-9 hours they're supposed to be working, not to work the 12, 13, 15 hours while the machine is being fixed on site. So by having an implementation of a maintenance plan, this is not going to happen anymore. Also, the decrease of the cost of spare parts will be drastically changed. Why is this? Well, the mechanics of the shop are not going to be at last minute. Oh, we need to ship a part from California. It's going to charge. They're going to charge us $150 of freight. They're going to charge us $400 of freight. In this case, if we have a daily, weekly maintenance plan, we know which parts are going to be damaged. We know how many parts we need, and we don't have to be spending a lot of money in waste of parts and waste of time and effort. So how did the company approach the problem? Well, the company needed the equipments to be very productive and always on sharp point while performing in a quality environment. So the company did some research and came up with the idea of total preventive maintenance. As you can see here in this figure, we have here the world-class results, how to use the guidelines of the total preventive maintenance. So as we used the guidelines of total preventive maintenance, and we decided to implement an autonomous maintenance plan and a planned maintenance. That's a weekly and daily plan. So now, once we approached the problem, we started to collect data from the field, the data of the machine, of currently how the machines were performing before the implementation. So as we can see here, we performed a availability test, which we obtained 83%. So we can see here in the chart that 83% is a very drastic, a very bad performance. As you can see here, we have an 83 and 80, and if it's below 83, it's just bad. It's just bad. We have it in red right here. So we performed the performance test, collecting all the data. We obtained a 66. Where do we meet the 66 in performance? We are red also. We are also red. We are not performing well. Why is this? Because our equipment is not being well maintained. So for the quality yield, we had a quality yield of 100%. Well, we have a quality yield because the machine is not working bad. The machine is always cutting on point, so we don't have a problem with quality. So for the results, when the implementation was implemented, we implemented a daily inspection report. Looks like the following on screen. We have here, we check daily the engine, check the fluids, we check the cleaner indicator, we perform walk-around inspections of the machine, perform hydraulic fluid checks, coolant checks, fuel tank checks, air cleaner checks, we perform bearing checks, we perform the teeth that open the ground checks, we perform every single thing every single day, and every single time the machine is not being used at the end of the day, we perform this inspection, leading to us not losing money, leading to us anticipating the damages. So once we have the damage anticipated, we could go ahead and fix it right on spot, and we know what we're missing. We also implemented a preventive maintenance report, as you can see right here. This is the one we do weekly, besides the one we do daily. So we have here the overall machine, how it looks. We have is all the safeguards working, if all the hydraulics, piping systems, hoses are doing good, if all the operator systems, checkups, like for him to operate the machine are doing very good, if the tank is not leaking, if the brakes are good, if the valves are good, we check every single thing daily. So that by this being said, it gives us a very tremendous result at the end of this project. So we then ran data again after the implementation, and we found that when we analyzed the availability, we had a 94%. This is great. This is wonderful. This is right on point. We have it equal or better, or equal or less than 94. So we're great. So for performance, we had 100%. So we had 100. We had 92 or more than 100, so we had a very, very, very good performance. So in the quality yield, we also had it very good. So we got here 100% also. Then for the overall equipment effectiveness, that we use all these three calculations and we plug it in the data, we got to a 94 overall overall effective equipment productivity. So that's placing us right here. So we have a very good machine after the implementation. We have no breakdowns, and if we have a breakdown, we can anticipate which and where it's going to break down. So this project was very, very, very successful. So concluding, we found that all the objectives that we talked about, increasing employees' productivity, increasing equipment productivity, increasing the spare parts, decreasing the spare parts amounts of money being spent, we had a very, very, very accomplished project for that matter. All the results presented here helped us improve our employee productivity drastically. Obviously, we had equipment longevity improved. So now the company needs to only buy the machine every 15 years, and for this matter, it's only going to upgrade to newer systems. So this being said, these revenues at the end of this project will go towards the employees, as in employee raises, for their medical insurance, for their benefits, for their 401k. It goes to the employees at the end of the day. So we just changed from losing money to giving this back to our employees, giving them new cafeterias, giving them new areas, common areas to chill, relax while at work. So we had a very successful project. It was a 3-month long project. We were working during the COVID-19, and we met the deadline for the 3 months. We actually finished the project last week. We did all the documentation required, and this is fully implemented in the company, and this is just bringing us good news. And I can conclude now that we had a very, very successful project. So if you guys have any questions, I'm open to them, and I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation.